My God. G'day everyone. Thanks for waiting. Comment your thoughts. Round 3 live review. Final score: Essendon 71, Saints 67. Somehow we've lost this game. And I actually know how we lost this game, but it still baffles me that we lost this game. It felt like, no disrespect at all, but it felt like this took me back to 2021, 2022. It just was a flashback to like Brett Ratton football, where it's like a lot of chances to win it, and then you don't win. And the longer the game went on, the longer we kept missing chances and letting them back into the game, which, to be fair, they let us off the hook in the first couple of quarters because we let them, we should have been, in the first quarter, we should have been 4 or 5 goals up, honestly. We should have been 4 or 5 goals up. Halftime, it should have been 5, 6, 7 goals up. It was just, at times it looked really easy, and then at times it almost looked too easy, and it made us really relaxed and not play with that sort of intensity that we saw last week. We saw some crazy intensity last week from the team, and that was a big 9-day break, so no excuses fitness-wise. And Essendon, we knew the way Essendon were going to play. We knew they were going to play really fast, really handball happy, and it kind of worked in our favour early in the game. And I was watching this unfold from like level 2 right behind the Saints goal, so I had the full field, and I'm like, this is working for us. If they keep doing this all day, eventually the damn wall's going to break, and eventually we're going to run away with this game, and we're going to win this easy. That's exactly what I was thinking in the first quarter. I thought, okay, we're not getting bang for buck right now. It was 4-1. They brought it back, and then I think we got it to, 7-3 or 7-4. We got over a 20-point lead again for the second time, and I thought, great, finally we can put the foot down now. Finally we can get away. And we kept giving away a couple of junk time goals at the end of the first and the second quarter. And that was really, really frustrating. I couldn't believe at the end of the first quarter we went in 9 points up. I couldn't believe at the end of the second quarter we're up by 11. And then the third quarter was 7. And I thought, this is set up perfectly to lose this game. That's what I thought at three-quarter time. But I backed our system. I felt frustrated, but I didn't feel nervous. And I kind of backed the system because I've seen what the boys have done in the off-season and the game plan in place. But we cracked on. We had no composure. We cracked under the pressure, and it's not the first time that we've seen that. A lot of the last quarter today reminded me of big portions of the Geelong game, where they got so many consecutive inside 50s, and we had absolutely no composure to get the ball out of the back half, and we would continually turn it over. They bomb it in, we try to get it out, they create a zone outside the 50, 60, 70 metre arc. We turn it over then, they bomb it in. It's just kind of rinse and repeat until eventually they get bang for buck and they get a score. And that was the case with a couple of Bonner's turnovers, who was just very off today. I thought Riley Bonner had a lot of the ball, a lot of metres gained, but at the end of the day, a lot of turnovers, and that's the most important stat for any player where you want the ball in hand. We didn't see Windy or Naz break the lines as much. Sharman, again, had a couple of really important moments in the game, and you'd normally back him to kick those, and that's the way the game was going, and he didn't take it. And that really, I thought Jack Steele was pretty good for most part, but that really important captain's kick out of the back line, really, really critical moment in the game where it's, pretty much level score, 5 minutes to go, and he kicks it out of bounds. I don't know if it was on the full, but it was a bad kick outside to the right of the Essendon forward line. And it just really sapped all energy. The whole last quarter felt like we were defending for some reason. I know we kicked the first goal. Caminiti, I thought, was actually very good. So just quick note there. I thought his physicality, his energy, his ground ball stuff was really decent. And he kicked a couple of good goals. A couple of moments I think he'd won again. That snap where he kicked in the first quarter, but he tried it again and it was never going to happen. Drop punt from there. It just felt like we were too cute. And like, perfect example, Dan Butler's goal. He kicked it, but how cute was he? How much did we look at that and go, we're trying to be too fancy here? And it felt like that for the entire game. It came off on that occasion, but it just set a really, really bad precedent for the rest of the game. Because I know 9 times out of 10, that ball's getting touched or he's getting tackled and it's not going in. We didn't have the supply out of the middle like we did last week. We didn't break clear. Darcy Wilson didn't quite have the same impact late in the game with his legs. Hasty, a couple of nice things. He'll learn. Still looked a little bit off the pace for me, but he'll get better, and I'm excited to see how he goes. And the back line, first time in a while where I thought, yeah, we cost a few things there. They didn't kick the goal, Essendon. Perfect example again. That mark to, I think it was a Menzel in the last quarter to the Essendon player. Stocker and him, Stocker's watching him the whole time. He takes a chest mark, basically uncontested. And then 1 meter or 2 meters off, and this guy had a pretty good game again. Josh Battle could have gone hard and spoiled the damn thing. And he's watching Stocker and this guy battle for it. And then, this guy marks it. He misses the goal. But I'm just thinking, why aren't we playing with that intensity? We looked gassed. We looked gassed in the last quarter. But I can't use that as an excuse. I know we say we're really fit. We looked really tired late in the third and pretty much for the entire fourth term. But there were minimal stoppages in this game. It was a very quick end-to-end game. I don't know how much they had to say in that. I thought that would actually favour us. It didn't look like it to me in the last quarter. It looked like it opened up the game enough for Essendon to pick us off. And it just felt like a game you just wanted to bank and get on with. You're like, I was happy to come here and have a review and be like, that was shit, but we got the win. And that's kind of the important part of this time of season. But to lose another close one, very similar like the Geelong game, although Geelong led for most of the day in that game and we were chasing, but we were ahead for 104 of the 113 or 14 minutes this game went for. That's a very big portion of the game. We should be winning that game in that instance. I think at one point we were 8 goals 12, and I think they were 8 goals 5 or something. So we've had 7 or 8 more scoring shots throughout the game. It might have evened up towards the end because they did dominate most of that last quarter. But from the second and the third quarters, the game should have been over. The game should have been over. There should be no excuses. We should have moved on from this. There were still some positives. I thought Filippo had one of his better games this year. Owens was still pretty good. Higo, I think Higo's got that little zip about him. Dan Butler's still a little bit off the pace. And Tim Embry, it hurts because there was a couple of critical points in that third quarter where he should have marked both times and he missed both. He dropped both marks. And it's just one of those games where I think a lot of our really good players, a lot of our senior boys were down. And we haven't had them all down collectively like this in quite a while. And it just felt like one of those games where just things were not going right. We're hitting the post left, right, and centre. Actually, just backtrack to the leadership. Quick note, Seb Ross. I thought he was unbelievable today. I don't know what pills he took some angry pills this morning, some Dustin Martin pills, because he fended about 4 blokes and snapped the ball and hit the post, but it would have been an unbelievable goal. But even in the last quarter, there was a passage where he got the ball and he took the guy on the mark. He took him on, he beat him, and he kicked it nice, straight up the middle. And it was just composed for the majority of the game. We had no composure for a lot of that game out of the defense. Watching the replay, there's going to be so many instances I spot where it's just like there was a nice handball there, but we went there. And it's just like slow the game down at times. And I think we got sucked into the way Essendon wanted to play. They wanted to play helter-skelter. I know we can probably play that way, but we need to be more methodical about that. And we just weren't. We went to the gears they went to, and the first quarter and a half played into our hands a little bit because we turned the ball over from their mistakes, but we still didn't rush. We still were a little bit composed. We had the shots on target. We had about 5 marks inside 50 in the first quarter. That should result in 3 or 4 goals. It resulted in what, 1, I think, if none. I can't remember. But the majority of the game was on our terms until the last quarter. The crowd got involved. Stringer got involved. Nick Hind got involved. By the way, Nick Martin, 44 disposals, like 5th all-time Essendon disposal getter, I think. Another player where we've just kind of let him off the leash. And I know some people will say that, yeah, he didn't really hurt us, but 44 disposals for any player. And, I mean, he does get a lot of meters gained and could have kicked a really important goal. He was pretty influential, I thought. I thought Rowe did okay against Draper and Goldstein, although I don't know. We did try to rotate Caminiti and Owens through there. We tried Sharman back, didn't work. I think we put Windy at halfback at one point, I saw, to get him probably into the game. But there was just things that were just off, and it's just really frustrating because I knew that this would be a tough game. Like, I knew the way Essendon play in the first 2 weeks. They beat Hawthorn in a high-scoring game. They lost to Sydney in a high-scoring game. I knew that they would give us a very, very good run for our money, particularly because we're missing Mason Wood, Liam Henry, and Max King in this game. But the way it started, I thought this is going to be a nice soft kill. That's exactly what I thought. I'll be dead honest with you guys. I actually thought we're going to feed off all of their mistakes. We're going to be a class above. We're not going to play amazing, but we're just going to hurt them on the turnover. And that's exactly what I said in my preview. And for the first half, apart from the execution in front of goal, that's exactly the way the game was going. And I bumped into Andrew Bassett, the president, at halftime. I had a chat with him, and his consensus was exactly the same. The structure and the tools are in place to get this job done comfortably, but we need to be clinical in front of goal, because if we're not, it's going to bite us in the arse. Pretty much what we spoke about at halftime. And guess what? It's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. Set shots let us down. Someone just commented that. And just some errors out of the back half. We're just not good at handling some heat in front, when it's coming at us that quickly, which is a bit surprising because we've got Sinks, Naz, and we're supposed to have Bonner in there to handle that pressure. And I can't really remember too many occasions where we were put under pressure and we were composed enough to not only hit a target, but open up the game, go for that big kick in the middle of the ground. Nasai did it on multiple occasions last week against Collingwood, where it was, one Saints player between 5 Collingwood, and that would open up the game. We didn't do that much today. We really just kind of tried to fend off their turnover. And when that stopped happening in the last quarter and we started to turn things over, pressure, gets put on. I guess the only upside is that we didn't allow Gresham to kick a goal. He had a quiet game. But apart from that, we were severely off all day. And yeah, it was just a really disappointing result off the back of, a frustrating result against Geelong, but we fought it out and we could have won that game, and it was okay because they look like a good team. And then we bounced back pretty well against Collingwood. And today we really needed to consolidate last week, but we didn't at all. We put ourselves back in the pack, and now it makes next week's game against Richmond at Norwood really, really important. We can't go to that and lose that. We need to go in 2-2 and win that comfortably, get Max King back. And it's going to be an interesting selection dilemma, I think, because, I don't think Hasty had a huge game. Obviously, he came on last quarter, so it depends if we want to give him another run. But we dropped Collard after debuting, so it depends. Do we drop him straight away? Who's the sub again? Darcy Wilson wasn't absolutely amazing. So it's really frustrating, Sainers. I really think that we lost this more than Essendon won this. Credit to Essendon. They stayed close enough, and they got the win in the end. When they needed to, Jake Stringer kicks a set shot that we didn't know how to bloody do. But, yeah, really, really frustrating. So that's my thoughts. I think Jack Hayes would have helped in this game, and I see Adrian mentioning that. We can't keep losing the midfield battle. I thought we broke even in the first half. The stats showed that, and we were leading, and I thought, well, if that continues, that's good enough. But, yeah, I think having a Jack Hayes with Rowan Marshall would be amazing. And I think he plays tomorrow in the VFL full forward for Sandy. So keep an eye on that. Maybe he's a lot closer than we think. So let's go through some of the comments. I'm just going to scroll all the way to the top because there's quite a few. Marie says, complacency set in, desperate play. Lift boys 4 points on the line. Next week against Tigers will show they're an awesome team. I hope so. I hope you're right, Marie. Jordan says, I get he may not be AFL quality, but how hard is it for them to out Campbell to free Marshall a bit more, drives mental? Yeah, it was frustrating because you could see Essendon put Draper and Goldstein forward a lot of the time. And a lot of the time Goldstein was on his own. We were lucky they didn't utilise that more. I was right behind the goals for, obviously 2 of the quarters they were kicking that way. And there were so many occasions where I thought, damn, if they had a bit more composure, Essendon, they could isolate Goldstein. Because there were times where Goldstein was on like a bloody, Sharman or someone like that, and it would have monstered him. They just didn't put it on his head. And I just feel like we have lost that. Obviously, Paddy Ryder and Rowe were like that. We could play them both forward, but I think we missed a trick trying to rotate Caminiti and Owens. I would have put It would have been good to have more support, but again, Campbell's only good for that. He doesn't do too much around the ground like Draper and Goldstein. So it really is kind of, a very risky decision to make. Bestest Battle so strong, absolutely tested all last quarter. Yeah, Battle was good all day, apart from that one occasion where I thought he could have really gone harder and it impacted the contest. Saved by Ghost is emotional, so trying not to be too negative. Ghost Saints, hopefully they pull it back next weekend. Shaffer says that's now 2 games we've lost within a kick. One against a decent team in Geelong and one today against an average team in Essendon. I think either way, I think the Geelong game probably fair result. We didn't deserve to win that, but we would have pinched it. But Essendon were us in the Geelong game, if that makes sense. They stayed long enough. Geelong were inaccurate, kept us in the game. Could have pinched it. We didn't, but we allowed Essendon to pinch this game. No doubt. They know they could. If their fans think that they were the better team all day, I think they're dreaming. We missed a lot of shots. We kept them in it for long enough that eventually when the momentum changes, because that's football, that's AFL football. You're not going to have it all your own way. Even the most one-sided games, you see 5-10 minutes, like yesterday. Carlton looked like they were runaway 10-goal winners. There were patches of that game where North were very good and had the momentum. The first 10 minutes was 4-1. It goes to show that momentum shifts in games. You've got to maximize it when you get it. We get momentum, you kick 1 goal 4 or 2 goals 5 or something in the third or second term. That's not good enough. Jason says, should have been over at quarter time, but can't hit the side of the barn. Absolutely. Jessica says, embarrassing performance today. Hurts more when we give it away like today. That's from Tuxter. Absolutely, it does. Wooden spoon data. Yeah, absolutely. But that translates to missed opportunities in front of goal. A lot of them were easy drop punts that we would have missed. Sharman missed 2. Caminiti missed 1. Membry missed 1. Filippo missed 1. We hit the post with Seb Ross. Caminiti snaps when he shouldn't have. So many occasions there, guys, that should have been, again, composure. We just didn't have it. Look at the contested ball in the last quarter, 41-29. That tells you who wanted it more. Absolutely. But my point is the game could have been over at halftime and they're not in it and hungry enough to do that. We gave them the sniff. The sniff comes from somewhere. We gave it to them. The crowd gets into it. A couple of free kicks. They get close enough. They start believing. That barn door, I'll use that analogy, should have been slammed shut at halftime. We kept it ajar and that just kept creeping open and open. And eventually it was kicked wide open and they came to the party and won the game. Reality check, maybe. I mean, I'd say it's too early for that, but Dean says, with King out, we needed our other kick forwards to stand up. Membry and Sharman, 0 goals between them. Great point. Didn't acknowledge that. That's a huge no from them. Membry had a few chances, didn't take them. Ross was elite. Yeah, I thought Ross was really good today. Couple more. This is from Jesse. Jakey, until we address the midfield problem, we won't be a top 4 team. We get battered nearly every week. Winhager doesn't back it. I'll stop you right there. Top 4 or not, mate, or Jesse, I'm not sure if it's a girl or a guy, but we win this game. We don't need to be a top 4 team to be winning this game. We should have won this game. Simple as that. Regardless of your point, I agree. To be a top 4, top 2 team, we need to improve the midfield. But that's a work in progress. You can't do that every day. You have to do that in the trade period and mid-season draft and all that sort of stuff. But right now, current teams playing head-to-head, we should have won this game, and we didn't. So, really frustrating. Jones dodged 6 players and drilled it inside 50. It was brilliant. Yeah, Jones was actually all right. He had some energy about him. Jones and Ross, to me, were the ones that really tried to make stuff happen. A lot of the time, the rest of the boys kind of just went with the motions. Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we need to kick goals, not points. Absolutely, Susie, spot on. I don't think we're garbage, to be honest, AJ. I don't think that at all. I think that's probably a bit of an overreaction on your part. Set shot kicking needs work. Yeah, no shit, Ollie. Not to be harsh, but obviously. Yeah, and I think just to summarize it before I wrap up, Lance is saying it there. We were our own worst enemy today. We lost that game. We butchered it. We gave it away. Saners. I don't want to take too much credit away from the Bombers because I thought they played with grunt and they did try things all day. They played their brand and eventually it worked. But I just feel like we didn't maximize on the opportunities we were given, which were more than them for the majority of the game to win it. And we probably got what we deserved because we kept missing shots. And bad kicking is bad football. And I hate saying that because it seems like I say that too often with this team. Yeah, really, really frustrating. I'm going to leave it there, Sainers. I'm not going to go on too long because I think we all know that this is the sort of game that really we should have won. And we didn't maximize on the opportunities that they gave us. There were so many turnovers where I thought, we're out here. It's like, in our front half, it looked like we had an outnumber everywhere. And those were the occasions where we didn't take advantage and we didn't kick goals. And you thought, okay, so how have we not kicked a goal there, And I think there were a couple of occasions where we missed and they would immediately go up the other end and kick a goal. And they did that with the Jake Stringer one where they hit the front, but it was reversed. Seb Ross kicks the goal, settles the nerves a little bit. And then from there, we just kind of defended the entire game and we went into our shells. We didn't know how to pull the trigger. We didn't know how to win the game. We were trying to save the game. And eventually that didn't work. And I think hopefully this is a big learning curve for the club. Hopefully it's a learning curve for all these youngsters, even our senior boys. I thought some of them didn't stand up when we needed them to. 29-41 contested ball in the last quarter is not good enough. And we've let one slip big time here. So on that note, Sainers, I'm going to wrap it up there. I'll do a mini review on Instagram as well. So if you want to follow us on Instagram at Saints TV Pod, YouTube as well would be great. I will be in Adelaide next weekend for the gather round. So I'll be at Norwood. I'll be flying down that morning. So exciting to see the boys there. But off the back of tonight, I dare say if Max King plays, do we win this game? Yeah, we probably win this game, don't we? It's really, really frustrating. It's just one where a lot of things didn't go away. I mean, the injuries enough hampered our chances, but I thought with no Peter Wright, big time, that would have helped us. And, Bombers pinched it. Good on them. I just wish we had the maturity and the composure to hold on, even if we weren't playing at our best, to just slow the game down and see it out. Because we were leading with 4 minutes to go. 5 minutes to go, If you're that close to the finish line, you got to find a way to win. Anyway, guys, I'll wrap it up there. Appreciate you watching me for 24 minutes. Thank you very much. I know it's not the result we wanted for the long weekend. Really, really disappointing. More to come on the channel, so make sure you stay tuned. In the meantime, have a really nice Easter. Hope you have a great Easter Sunday. And then obviously Easter Monday. And I'll be back next week for some more content. So until next time, enjoy yourselves and go Saints. See you guys.